Welcome to a tunnel. I hope you like it. I made it especially for you. Actually, I didn't make it at all. What am I talking about? The designers of the game made it, but nonetheless, here's some jellyfish. Let's not get involved with them, thanks. They kind of hurt, and are slightly electrocuted. Or, they electrocute you slightly, but welcome to the water temple. Now, as you can see, we are greeted immediately with a puzzle we can't solve yet. Here's some black choo-choos for our trouble. Let's kill them indiscriminately. I said kill them indiscriminately, not be killed by them indiscriminately. Thank you. You guys really need to learn your passive. Let's scoop up the red guy just so we have some extra health. Sweet. Okay, cool. So that more than fills up our maximum health. Oh yeah, I forgot we have a third bottle now. Man, I love having empty bottles in the Zelda games. Okay, cool. More water bombs. Yes, I don't know, there's something I really enjoy anytime I'm playing a Zelda game and I find a new bottle. I'm just like, hell yes! Now I can store all kinds of another fairy or whatever I want to store. Usually fairies, to be honest, because those little guys are useful. But in the absence of fairies, let's just get some chew jelly on. Okay, what's in this other chest? That's not... that's the exact same chest, Joe. Good job. Good job. Not sure why I'm still dicking around in here when there's clearly other puzzles to solve, so let's just head onwards, shall we? I really need to learn to stop tackling random bits of wall I find. But it's fine. Oh, when I said we have a puzzle we can't solve, I meant a puzzle we can solve very, very easily, and without any form of trouble whatsoever. Not sure why I thought we couldn't solve it yet. Clearly, I am a dunce. But in any case, let's move onwards. Now, the main mechanic of this dungeon, if you couldn't guess, is going to be water and what you can do with it.
Whoa, that's treacherous. Don't you think you ought to knock down the stalactites hanging off the ceiling first? They don't look to be very stable. I bet they'd break pretty easily if you hit them with enough force, don't you think? Hint, hint! Bomb arrows!
Yes, thank you, Midna. So yes, all you need to do, fire at these stalactite dudes, and everyone will be happy. I don't think you can knock down these smaller ones. Nope. Or maybe... yeah, no, it's going right through them. Ghost stalactites! Ah! Okay, and here's a revamped version of our old friend the Tektites. These ones are found primarily in water areas, and... oh yeah! I forgot about those little Helmasaur dudes. I think that's what they're called, at least. I know the very big version of them in A Link to the Past was called Helmasaur, but I can't vouch for them being called the same in this. Sorry about that. I should probably edit that out. Let's hope I remember to. In any case, yes, let's just head on our merry way through this dungeon then. Now, one thing that I found... okay, I'm going to show off these guys first. As you can see, this is what our good friend Skeleton Warrior warned us about. Ow. These guys have protected fronts, but weak backs. So we can use our new technique and use them to our advantage. Once they die, we can also pick up their skulls. No, it's just armor they were having. But, yeah, we can now pick up the spiny armor and throw it at stuff. There's no real advantage to having it as far as I'm aware. Maybe pushing down some switches later in the dungeon, but I'm not certain. That's another point I was going to raise, is that although I sort of do every now and then little tiny run-throughs of what I'm about to do in the episode, I do not practice doing dungeons. Which I really probably should do, because I can imagine later in the game it's going to get to the point where I'm doing a dungeon and I'm just like, I have no idea where I'm meant to go, guys. Is it this way? More water bombs! I don't need more water bombs! Just save them for later when I'm probably going to be running out and going, crap, where are all the water bombs, please? Okay, cool, I've got arrows again. I don't know if it's possible to have more arrows in your quiver just yet, but I think we should be alright with 30 anyway, so it'll be grand, don't worry. Oh, I don't want to skip this. What are you talking about? Why would I want to skip this masterpiece? Ah, yes. Oh, yeah. Why am I just going, oh yeah, to the... it's because, like, stuff is sort of vaguely coming back to me from way back when I first played this game. I'm just like, oh yeah, I vaguely remember this was a thing. Let's put water bombs onto up there, and everybody will be happy. Okay, you can just go away. Finish! Now, I believe later in the game, although that move is called a finishing blow, or finishing move possibly, I don't think it necessarily kills enemies, and that's a surprisingly standard door for a temple, or for a dungeon. Hello? But yeah, later in the game when the enemies get nice and tough, actually I'll save that for after the cutscene. But yeah, later in the game when the enemies get nice and tough, hang on, did I just hear an... I think I just heard a whee. Yeah, Uku's in there. Anyways, later in the game when the enemies get tougher, as I've been trying to say, the finishing blow doesn't necessarily kill them off in one go. It does a lot of damage to them and makes them easier to kill. But I don't think it necessarily kills them if you knock them down. Which is a bit irritating, but it's how difficulty works, really. If a game doesn't get more difficult as you go along, then something's kind of going wrong. Especially in context of something with like Zelda or with RPGs or things like that, where the hero gets stronger. The enemies also need to get stronger, because otherwise the game's boring, you know? It's a poorly balanced game and people will slag it off for generations to come, making angry video game nerd style videos about it, and I'm sure you put away rupees when we don't need it, but arrows, just like, oh yeah, sure, I can waste 20 of those. Arrows are a precious commodity, you know. But yes, the thing about this room is you have to pull these little switches, which hang off the ceiling, and that will rotate the staircase around to where you are, which is pretty dang helpful, because it means you can access different rooms from where you could get to before. So as you saw before, when we were up on the top floor here, we had access to an exit, which is where we'd just come from, whereas now we have access to Uku! Let's go away. Oh, Uku.
Phew, free at last. Gracious, you're that nice fellow who helped me out the other day. How nice to see you again. Well, now that we found each other again, let's stick together for a bit, I'll be right with you, so if you want to walk out, just let me know.
Oh, Uku. You're useful, but you're really, really weird. Just, I can't... I really don't know where the designers' heads were when they were playing, or when they created Uku. Especially Uku's son. That was a little bit horrifying, if you ask me. Just, you know, decapitated baby with wings. Perfectly normal, right? Happens in all the Zelda games. Okay, this is something we cannot interact with yet, so please pretend that we never saw that. Actually, don't bother. It's not that serious. But now we should be able to pull this switch and get to areas that I haven't explored yet. I have noticed that all of the switches I've pulled, I've sort of done immediately without sort of looking around doors I could go in before. This will probably prove to be my downfall, as I'll go like, huh, I can't find any rooms to go in that I can do stuff with, because, you know, if I'd looked a bit more carefully earlier, I'd have been set. Here's a map. Told you. Yeah, you almost always get the dungeon map quite a while before you get the compass. And quite often, actually, well, not that often, but relatively often you get the compass only a little bit before you get the boss key. I think sometimes you even get the boss key before you get the compass, but, you know, it all just sort of depends on whether you find the chests while you're looking around, because obviously you don't have the compass to show you where the compass is. That's just kind of logic. Okay, where can we go here? Can I jump over there, or do I have to go down this little slope first? Well, I don't know if we have to, but I'm gonna. We can't do anything with that just yet. Tech tight. Tech tight. No, you go away now. Thank you very much. You too. Okay, maybe not. Can I stab you, like, right in the eye? That would be good. Okay, well, I didn't, but it's a good thing I don't need to. Okay, anything I can do up here then instead? You know, I get the feeling that maybe the Tektites with their eyes where they are. I mean, that is how they've been throughout Zelda and everything, but I get the feeling that maybe in Twilight Princess originally the plan was for it to be sort of more Skyward Sword-esque in terms of motion control. Can I blow this up? It looks like I should be able to. But yeah, and maybe that that would have been an enemy that you had to thrust your sword to kill rather than to just slash at indiscriminately. Okay, can I do anything in this room? I don't think I can go through this little layer of water. Nope. Oh, but I should be able to go back up there and jump off the other side of the bridge, shouldn't I? Because weirdly enough, when you have a sort of platform which is in three-dimensional space, you can go off one side and you can also go off the other. It's just this weird thing I've noticed about reality. To be fair, there's a lot about reality that doesn't make sense, so I'm getting all metaphorical on your asses. Okay, what can I do on this side of the fence? Anything cool? Not especially. And again, it's not exactly easy for me to do anything cool. Okay. Why do I keep randomly insulting myself in these videos? I don't have an answer. If you have an answer, put them in the comment section below, and I'll probably not read them for ages. Well, obviously I won't read them for ages, because, again, Russia and everything. Can I jump across these yet? No. Oh, I know what I need to do. First I need to kill this guy, because he's making the music. Oh, there's two of you! You sort of merged into one Tektite. I am truly sorry. But no, I think what we're going to need to do is... There should be, if I'm not much mistaken. Yeah, there we go. Cool. So now we can use that water gushing thing as a platform, rather than just as a huge surge of water. See, the secret to Zelda is all about harnessing things in the room to your own advantage. Too bad if it, like, destroys the room or anything. That's a weird point. Like, in most cases, if you think about it as a game, all of these design choices make sense. You know, you have to blow up the stalactite to be able to get the platform so you can get to the key. Game-wise, perfectly logical. But if you think of these dungeons or temples as sort of things designed to be, okay, only the true who are with strength can get to this. Only the chosen ones can get to our most valuable treasures within the temple. Because that's what these are. They're like sacred places for each of the races. That was an unintentional rhyme, but I'm glad I made it nonetheless. That was a good waste of time. I'm sorry, my brain switched off again. But yeah, if you think about it like that, it's kind of unusual. So it's like they had to set up stalactites in such a way that... I mean, you can't really do that in a cave, I would suggest. Unless you had a lot of time on your hands. But yeah, you'd have to set up like a lot of... Because... I'm really being unclear with my thoughts here. So, things like stalactites, you can't really control because they are formed naturally over a long time. So, in other words, otherwise that chest would probably be pretty much impossible to get to under any normal circumstances. We're just lucky that there was a stalactite hanging over it that we could use. And then obviously there are mechanics that come later, which could be used to example. So, for example, back in the Goron mines, they had the magnetic areas, which they sort of occurred naturally, I suppose. But you could still set your dungeon around it. It's not something that would have to form perfectly luckily for everything to come together. I don't know. I get the feeling my point is being lost in obscurity here. I'm just going to stop talking about it now and just try and enjoy the dungeon for what it is. It's a lot of fun, I'll tell you that much. I'm trying to remember, I think... Oh yeah, of course. I was trying to think what item we got in the dungeon, but it's quite obvious now that I remember what I've seen around the dungeon. For people who haven't played Twilight Princess before, it's not necessarily obvious to them, because they're like, well, I don't know. It could be anything, it could be a liquor store for all I know. And I'd say, why would you get a liquor store as an item? You couldn't carry that around with you in a bag, you know. And they'd say, I beg to differ! And I'd sort of say, why? And they probably wouldn't have an answer, because honestly, that argument is a bit bullshit.